Eve scrolled through the endless feed of the Chaos Magic Mastery group. Another day, another digital summoning circle of questionable intentions. She joined for the laughs, stayed for the potential train wrecks. Most members were harmless LARPers with too much time on their hands. Then there was Lucian. Lucian's profile picture was a heavily filtered photo. It showed a man, maybe early 30s, with eyes that seemed to pierce the screen. His posts were different. Less about summoning demons to find lost car keys, more about bending reality through sheer force of will. Intriguing, but Eve smelled bullshit. Still, she sent him a message. Interesting thoughts. We should talk sometime. Almost instantly, a reply pinged back. Destiny favors the bold, Eve. Let us meet. Was it her imagination, or did the air just get a little colder? The cafe was buzzing with the usual afternoon crowd. Eve spotted him instantly. Lucian was even more striking in person. He had this aura, a magnetism that drew the eye. Dangerous, she thought. He smiled, a slow, deliberate curl of his lips. Eve, so glad we could finally meet. His voice was deeper than she expected, almost a purr. They talked, or rather, he talked. Chaos magic, sigils, the power of belief as a weapon. He spoke with such conviction, weaving a tapestry of esoteric knowledge and personal anecdotes. Eve listened, her skepticism battling with a sliver of unease. He was good, she'd give him that. His every word, every gesture felt calculated to draw her in, to make her question her own perceptions. But Eve had learned a long time ago, the best liars were the ones who believed their own lies. Over the next few weeks, they met regularly. Lucian loved to talk, mostly about himself. He claimed to have used chaos magic to manipulate stock prices, influence elections, even mend a broken heart. The stories were always vague, just out of reach of verifiable proof. Eve played along, asking leading questions, watching him spin his web. He was like a magician, using smoke and mirrors to distract from the fact that there was no real substance behind the illusions. He thrived on attention, on the feeling of power he got from manipulating people. But Eve saw through him. She saw the insecurity, the desperation for validation, lurking beneath the surface. She saw the way his eyes darted around the room, searching for an audience, for someone to validate his delusions of grandeur. He was a fraud, a charlatan preying on the vulnerable with his brand of digital snake oil. Section 4. The Ritual of Coffee and Lies. One afternoon, Lucian invited Eve to his apartment. He wanted to show her something, a ritual, he called it, a way to tap into the raw power of the universe. Eve knew it was all bullshit, but she went along. Partly out of curiosity, partly because she was starting to enjoy yanking his chain. His apartment was exactly what she expected, dimly lit, cluttered with occult paraphernalia, reeking of incense and desperation. He led her to a small table covered in candles and strange symbols. He began chanting, his voice low and guttural. The air grew thick, heavy. Eve fought the urge to roll her eyes. This was it, his big reveal. The moment he would finally drop the act and show her his true self. She could almost smell the desperation clinging to him, the need to prove himself. Section 5. The Unraveling. "Behold, Eve," Lucian proclaimed, his voice trembling with excitement. "Witness the power of true chaos magic." He gestured towards the table. Nothing happened. The candles flickered, casting long, dancing shadows on the wall. A bead of sweat trickled down Lucian's temple. Eve raised an eyebrow. "Is that it?" she asked, her voice laced with amusement. "I've seen more convincing magic tricks in a kindergarten talent show." Lucian's face flushed crimson. He sputtered, trying to regain control of the situation. But the spell was broken. Eve leaned forward, her voice low and dangerous. "You're a fraud, Lucian," she whispered. "A cheap con artist hiding behind esoteric jargon and stolen rituals." She saw the fear flicker in his eyes, the realization that his carefully constructed facade had crumbled. "You think you can manipulate people with your mind games and parlor tricks?" Eve continued, her voice rising in a crescendo. "But I see you, Lucian. I see the scared little boy hiding behind the mask of the all-powerful mage." She stepped closer, her gaze unwavering. "And I know your secrets. Lucian stumbled back, his face pale. He opened his mouth to speak, but no words came out. Eve had turned the tables, exposing him for the fraud he was. She had seen through his illusions, his manipulations, and in that moment she held all the power.